we go. We're live.
Okay. Hey, everybody. Glad to see you here. And I'm so happy that most of you watched the Law and Crime episode last night. I thank you for that. I, um, I got to tell you, I was a little nervous about it. I wasn't sure. Oh, first, I want to say, let's welcome Milk, Honey, and Mayhem.
Hey,
Uh,
guys.
She's here. I think a lot of you, everybody here probably knows her. She was agreed to come on and very supportive of me, and I appreciate every minute she gives me, and she
Well, this is
gives
an
me back.
important case.
Um, but I just wanted to say with the Law and Crime episode, we were very nervous about. We didn't know what was. I didn't know what it was going to be like. I was watching it just like everybody else. It was the first time. I think they did it very well, but there were some things that were not accurate, but that's because a lot of their information came from the trial, and anybody who followed the case and the trial for the last several years, that a lot of things didn't come out in trial.
Mhm.
Um, a lot of people have sent me questions since last night. Um, I can answer some questions.
Mhm.
There's some that I'm not going to answer.
Mhm.
Um, but for the most part, I wanted everybody else's opinion. What did you think about the Law and Crime documentary?
Mhm. For,
Um,
su- for
Anybody
sure.
want to
I
comment?
I thought it was great, Rebecca. I thought it was really tastefully well done, and I really love that they mentioned Gino's story in there as well.
Yeah, I was grateful that they allowed me to share Gino with them, while they were here at my house. I mean, the shrine or whatever you want to call it that I have is both for Gino and Corey. And so you almost can't ignore it if you're here in my house. So,
Right.
we talked about that. And I'm very open, as you know, about
Mhm.
Gino and his substance abuse.
Mhm.
Problem. I've never hidden that. As you know, Toddy
Right.
and I talk about it every Monday. That's how we
Absolutely.
got started. I'm not embarrassed by it. I don't feel like it was my fault. And, that came up in some of the chat in Law and
Mhm.
Crime. Somebody had said, "Who is Gino?" Because I guess they never heard about Gino.
Right.
And he was mentioned last night. And somebody else had to answer, Gino was Bree's brother, a drug addict. He was a drug
Oh,
addict. And I got pissed off. I said, well,
yeah.
you were asked who he was, not what he was.
Mhm.
And then, we went back and forth a minute. And she's probably in here now. So um, I could actually look up. It doesn't matter who said it, to be honest
Right.
with you, because these people don't define me or Gino or Corey
Exactly.
or anybody in my family. But I
Exactly.
just thought, you know, people are watching this law and crime documentary about the death of a 6-year-old child, and what they took away from it was, I think the grandmother's an alcoholic. Look at her nose because my nose is red. Well,
Yeah.
guess what, people? I probably should be after
A
all that
lesser
I've
person would be, Rebecca.
I probably should be, but I'm sorry to disappoint. There's no drama here. I'm not. I drink coffee and I drink water, and occasionally I'll drink a can of Coke if I'm feeling really like I need something.
Yeah.
But I'm not a big drinker. I used to go to the bar on every Friday with my husband when we were still married. We would not go to a bar, but we would go out to dinner, have drinks, whatever. The second husband, well, very brief, but we would go out and have drinks. I'm not a drinker. I don't sit home and hit the bottle. And if I did, so what? I don't. But if that's all you people could take away from this documentary last night, then whatever. Think what you want. Don't really care. Don't have to prove anything to anybody. What I do want to talk about, though, is the documentary.
Yes.
I think it was very accurate. There were a few things that were off. We don't need to go into what was or wasn't. I don't need to point it out. But I just, I know, oh, Marissa is in the chat. She was somebody that had several questions, I believe. Um, and yeah, Chris also, this didn't come into court, but I do want to mention Chris Greger's drug and alcohol abuse problems. He had
Because I'm
a
sure
big
there was
problem
plenty.
none of you got to hear about. You only heard it from us. It didn't come into court. And it's funny that Mario Gallucci could shred Brianna and my family in court and tell you about everything that's wrong with us.
Mhm.
But he forgot to mention that Chris lost custody of Corey right after getting 50-50 custody. And yes, I said 50-50 custody because Chris had residential custody. And I'm going to explain that because it pisses me off that nobody understands this. It's been said before, but I'm going to talk about it in a minute. But anyway, Chris lost custody because he was arrested for possession of drugs. Okay. But nobody heard about that, right? But we could talk about Bree needing a bump the night Corey, passed or the night before. And you know what? Who wouldn't need something? She was
Exactly.
dealing with a lot of bullshit. And, most people would have fallen into bad habits after going
Exactly.
through what she went through. And guess what? She didn't. Somebody made the comment, how many times has mom been back to rehab since this happened? Well, guess what? She's never been to rehab. She was ordered to a treatment program that she called in and went for drug test. And guess who else was ordered to that same program? Chris Greger. But guess who didn't go? Chris Greger. Guess who never pissed in the cup? Chris Greger. And the one time that he did, he failed. Okay. So, but none of you know that, so, and did Chris's parents know what he was doing? What, the drugs, the abusing of children? Because he abused another one in their house too. Let's not forget Katie's son. Okay. And I'm going to call it out there like it is because I'm tired of everybody hiding. He abused another child in their household. There was an open DCP&P case with that kid when he came into Corey's life, but somehow that didn't come to light. It wasn't, So yeah, I'm a little pissed off. And
That should have pinged somehow in the system when Corey's name went in there with him.
Yeah. So, somebody was asking if his parents knew what he was doing. Well, I know they know what was happening with Corey and they lied about it to DCP&P.
Mm-hmm.
I know they did.
Mm-hmm.
And, because DCP&P would come back to my house and say, well, this is what, David said or Carolyn said. So they lied. And look where we are now.
Mm-hmm.
I just, so Marissa's asking, how are they able to cover what up? What Chris did? What? The drugs, the abuse, what?
Right.
I mean, they didn't have to really cover it up. DCP&P was just incompetent.
Mm-hmm. True. Hey, Jay, thanks for stopping by. Guilty of crime. Yeah. Thank you.
I don't want to talk too much about DCP&P because we do have an open litigation against them. So I don't want to talk too much about that. But, I would like to think that, David Greger was a retired state trooper. How did he not know what his kid's doing? Isn't he trained to know stuff like that? Mm-hmm. If he didn't know what his son was doing as far as the drugs and the other legal issues Chris was having, then he wasn't a very good state trooper then, was he?
Exactly. Just blindly turning an eye.
Right. We know that he knew what was going on. He always got him out of it. And, I just want to take this opportunity because I'm always being told, be careful what you say, be careful what you do. And that's been the case for quite some time now, since this case went to trial and, every court hearing, whatever. I always had to watch what I said and did. But I'm going to take this opportunity to say this. David Greger, if you're listening, and I surely hope you are, if you want to sue me, bring it on. I have nothing to hide. I speak the truth and always have. everything I say about your dirty son, your nasty scumbag son, and about you and your family is true. You know it is, or you'd be out here blasting away. You've said nothing. You threatened to say a lot, but I haven't heard anything yet. But if David Greger, if you want to file a lawsuit against me for what I say, bring it on. I welcome it. I have nothing for you to take. Okay. You took the most important thing to me, and that was Corey. So there's nothing left. I own nothing. I have nothing. Okay. So bring your lawsuit. I welcome it. I'll see you in court. That's all. So that's that. Okay.
Much
I have
respect
so
on
much,
that, Rebecca. Yes.
I just so much hate, and this just brought more up last night. I just,
Well, I think a lot of us felt the same way while we were watching that documentary, especially certain parts and the lawyer, the meatball, as you guys call him.
yeah, I call him a lot more than that. He was so proud of himself. Did you hear him last night say that
Oh,
he
yeah.
had to let up on Brianna when he had her on the stand? I think he let up because Brianna didn't break like he thought she would.
Exactly.
And he didn't know what to do. He didn't know how to handle that. I
Mm-hmm.
think Tottie's here. I
Hey,
hear
Toddy.
somebody knocking on the door. I think it's Toddy. So I think that's the reason he let up. It wasn't because, he felt bad.
Yeah.
It was because I don't think
Yeah.
she gave him the reaction.
I got to say, I was really proud of Brie and how she handled that whole thing on the stand and in the documentary last night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, she's
Yeah.
she's better than me, I'm telling you,
Yeah. Word.
because I lose my shit. I can't help it.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing, hey, Toddy.
Hey. Believe it or not, I'm on 2 lives right now. It's
Are
crazy.
there two Toddies?
No, I'm just on like 2 lives. It's like,
Oh, boy.
anyway, I thank you for having me. I was watching it last night and actually I was texting Jamie
Mm-hmm.
and I had texted you a couple times. I'm sorry. I thought that the show did a really good job
Yeah.
of reminding everybody everything, and just even being very objective. It showed exactly what Christopher Greger did.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Right.
anybody looking at it, but I was hopeful that we were going to find out about the appeal. There was nothing,
Mm-hmm.
right? I didn't miss that or
No,
anything.
I know that it's not being handled by Gallucci, so maybe that's why he didn't comment on it. I know there's another attorney. I think his name is Alan Zagas is handling Chris's appeal. As far as I know, that's the last information I was able to get.
Uh-huh.
So maybe that's why Gallucci didn't comment on it. On December 2nd, I'm assuming the Attorney General's office is going to call me again and let me know that if Chris's appeal was received or if he asked for another extension. I'm assuming he's asking for another extension. I mean, he's only had
Probably.
6 or 8. I think they should give him all the extensions that Corey was given,
Mm.
which
Yeah,
was,
right.
I don't think he
None.
deserved shit. That's just my
None.
opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think you could tell Gallucci did talk about he thought the 2 cases should have been severed. And I think that's what the appeal will be based on when it does come out. Everybody, I think, they felt that the child endangerment case should have been separate from the murder case, because the video, had that not been shown, I don't know what would have happened. I still think the the prosecutors put on a good case, even without the treadmill video. I think there was enough there. He ran away from the hospital and ended up, he was in Arkansas, Texas, or, I mean, that's not normal behavior.
Yeah, that body cam video that spoke volumes.
Yeah, where he was joking around and stuff.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, but the thing about the treadmill video is that it shows the disregard he had for Corey, you know. So and that spoke volumes. You know what I'm saying? Like, because like I said, you know, what surprised me was he was running on that treadmill for as long as he was running on it.
No.
And it was at
Well,
the end that he started making the speed go up. It wasn't as soon as he got there. It was like 8, 9 minutes into him running already at a
yeah.
decent speed.
I mean, honestly, Corey was used to running on that treadmill. It was his form of punishment. It
I
wasn't-
know, but I mean, but everybody seeing that, I think, helped the case. I
Oh,
think,
most definitely.
yeah. So, I mean, as much as it's hard to see that, I mean, I can't even imagine how you see it. I can't even look at it. But so, but I think that that was the thing that definitely, I mean, that made him guilty in everybody's eyes that has eyes, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me,
I
it
don't
was
know
when
though,
he walked out
Tony.
the door and
You
just
know,
let the door close on him.
At
well,
the end of
even
that, yeah.
Yeah.
Judge Ryan even commented on that at
Yeah.
sentencing, if you guys
Yeah.
remember,
Yep.
Yep.
you know. Um, but you know, I just there's just out of there's a lot of more positive than negative comments, and I guess I should focus on the positive, but it's
Mhm.
hard to ignore the negative. Like
Yeah.
somebody, I just feel the need to bring this up because I don't
Address
know
them.
if they're in the chat or not, but if you are, shame on you. But I'm going to bring this up. Some of these comments that I got. Somebody who's calling himself Dan6151 had commented that Dad may have been a little overzealous, but you have to admire his passion. How else is he going to toughen up that little fruitcake? That's how he referred to my dead grandson. So,
Disgusting.
how do you not respond to that? So I invited Dan6151 to come over here and say that to me, and we'd see who left here a fruitcake. Nobody's knocked on my door. He hasn't responded, he or she or whatever this may be. But that invitation still stands. If you want to come over and, we'll see how that goes, because I'm not taking any shit anymore. I've taken enough, and I'm going to defend myself however I feel like defending myself. For someone to call a dead child, a murdered child, a fruitcake.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't understand why somebody would say that. And
Well,
I mean,
because I think that I think that you're looking at it as some stupid stranger that probably wrote that, and I look at it as it's probably somebody in the Gregor family that
I
wrote
was
it.
just going to
Just
say
threw
that
off,
it could
Yeah.
be,
Yeah.
there was just a lot of, I guess, more positive than negative. So we don't have to really read the negative. You guys saw it, the negative comments. And, I guess I really shouldn't base this live on the scumbags that had negative things to say. You know
No.
who you are. So,
The haters give you views too, Rebecca.
no, I know. And I should look at it that way. But, I don't even know how much to say. I know Detective Mitchell was interviewed, and he said something about Chris coming into Corey's life or finding out about him 2 years prior, and I mean, I guess he has to say that
Right.
because he doesn't really know. Otherwise, he only knows when he came into the picture. When Detective Mitchell came into the picture, it was a homicide, investigation. Right. So he doesn't know. But, I think I've shared with all of you before that Chris knew about Corey. while Bree was pregnant, he demanded an abortion. She didn't do it. He came to see Corey or see Bree or the evidence. Bree got home after giving birth. He came to my house. He came to my house down in Florida several times when Corey was a few months old. So Chris Greger knew about Corey, and I don't even know why that matters, whether he knew about him at conception or he met him 2 years prior. Did that give him the right to kill him?
No,
No,
Make a
of course
difference.
not.
I mean, you know, but that seems to be a big deal with a lot
I
of
think
people.
that speaks pretty loud to the fact that he knew about Corey and yet was forced to take responsibility rather than just take responsibility.
Right, exactly. You know, and so that's very bothersome that, you know, I don't know why it bothers me so much. And another thing that bothers me is Mario Gallucci says Chris gave up his teaching career in Baltimore to come here and rescue Corey from us terrible people. Well, I'm here to tell you that Chris was terminated from his teaching position in Baltimore for beating the ass of some woman that he was with down there in the restraining order and among other things, extracurriculars that he was doing to make money. That's why Chris left Baltimore. His job ended. He was terminated. You know, things like this bother me because, you know, Chris was made out to be this saint, you know, and I mean, it's not the case. And, you know, the Gregors want you to think that they picked Corey up from the gutter and, you know, created this perfect child. And that's the furthest thing from the truth. They didn't mold him in any way. He, you know, they didn't know him long enough. They didn't get to know him. They didn't treat him like a grandchild or their child, you know. Somebody is asking why Chris came to Florida to see Corey because I have a master's degree, came to Florida. He was going to school in Florida and his current girlfriend was pregnant that he was with. He came to not to see Corey, but to buy a paternity test at CVS because I guess he thought he could lick a stick and Corey would have to lick the same stick and he was going to dip it in something and find out paternity. He didn't realize you had to send it in and pay for it. And when he found that out, he no longer wanted to do that paternity test. So he didn't come there to see Corey. He came there to see if he was, you know, indeed Corey's dad, but he knew he was. He knew what he did. So if that answers, you know, the question to Marissa. And I'm wondering, Marissa, are you from Monroe Township? Like, do we know you? I'm just curious.
And I think she's a subscriber of ours.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm just, you know, she comes up a lot. So I was wondering. Yeah. And, you know, Maddie, you're right. How many pictures did you see of Chris and Corey throughout this whole thing? The one where Corey was actively dying on his couch that he took, the last picture of Corey. And there was one I saw prior to that one of the first times Chris saw Corey when Corey was older, you know, at 5. They went hiking and Chris's then girlfriend took a picture and I have that picture. So there's 2 pictures of Chris and Corey that I'm aware of.
Yeah, that's what I was going to mention too. The photos, you can just tell from the photos of you and Bree and Corey together, the tightness and a bond that you have and how comfortable he was with y'all. I mean, that was just home.
Well, he lived there. That exactly like that was
home.
his home. That was totally his home. Yeah, you definitely saw that.
And the videos. Oh.
Yeah. What was I gonna wait, Mindy? Who's got a picture of Corey on his desk? Chris in jail? I mean, I'm confused. I don't know.
Now I noticed a pic of Corey on the detective's desk.
Yeah, maybe that's who she's talking about.
Maybe. Yeah.
You know. But yeah, Mindy is correct. You know, his criminal history is public record. We all are aware of it. Anybody can look it up. But he never got, I guess, convicted. He was charged with things, but I don't think he got convicted of a lot of these things. You know.
But he knew this time would be different. He knew.
Right. And Maddie, you're right. Corey did look uncomfortable in that picture when they were hiking because he was very uncomfortable. This was somebody he never knew, you know, and, you know, it had to be very uncomfortable, I can imagine, you know. I do want to address one thing, and it's about, you know, I don't have to answer this, but I'm going to. The custody. A lot of people are saying that, you know, Bree lost custody. And what happened was,
well, wait a minute. Just in all fairness, he said that. So that's why people are saying it, that because that they said that on the show. Now, you've already talked about it a few times, but that's the only reason why people are saying it. So that credit goes to that person saying that.
Right, but two people have said that Bree said it on the stand, and so I'm going to share this with you. I had custody of Corey because Bree voluntarily gave me custody of Corey because Asshat came into the picture and she knew the battle she was up against. So let's clear that up. And
that's called responsible parenting on Bree's part.
Right. So the shared custody was Chris had primary residential. And the reason it was that is because the town we lived in, the school district wasn't, I mean, it wasn't as good as the district that Chris lived in with his parents, even though it was 5 minutes down the road, different district. And before all this abuse started happening, we agreed that Corey should go to school in the better district. And for that to happen, Corey had to spend a half a day more in the Monroe Township residence to be able to go. I believe it was a half a day. So what happened was the way the custody went, Corey would come to us Wednesday after school and stay with us until Monday. And Bree would drop him at school Monday, and he would go home with Chris on Monday night. Chris would take him to school on Tuesday. He'd go home with Chris Tuesday night. Wednesday morning, Chris would take him to school. Wednesday afternoon, Bree picked him up and he came back to our house. So, you know, that's how that went. So, you know, I just wanted to clarify that.
And I can only imagine how he acted, Corey, I mean, before he had to go over there. I mean, he was so nervous, I imagine.
He hated it. He would say, do I have to go? Who's picking me up from school today? Because he, you know, he was still little and he didn't quite understand. And, you know, what is this?
Just block him. Block that person that you're reading that. I see that. Just get him out of there. Just get him out of there. I'm not able to do that for you.
I'm trying to do it. It's
the 3 buttons on the side.
Yeah. Oh, I see it.
Okay.
People are sick, I'm telling you.
Yes, they are.
But now I forgot what I was saying.
I'm sorry, Rebecca. I saw you seeing that too. You know,
I know. I don't remember what I was saying, but anyway, it's you know, you just
you were talking about that, you know, you had just shared the fact about the custody and that you just wanted to make sure that people knew that, you know, the only reason why Chris got half custody was because of the school district that you thought was best.
Right. Yeah, that's how it, I mean, obviously he got half custody because he was Corey's dad. And then we agreed to the school district, you know. I don't know how
I would have made that same decision as a parent.
You know, and I mean, that was before we knew what was happening, you know.
Of course.
So once we found out, I mean, then what happened was he finished out kindergarten in Monroe Township, and then that summer, Chris decided to move to Barnegat. So then the custody ended up being, Barnegat's an hour and 5 minutes from us. So how is Bree going to get him to and from school on her days every morning, waking up and,
Yeah.
it just wasn't going to work. And Chris did that purposely,
Mhm.
because he had primary residential. So that's how he got Corey away from Brianna more and more.
Yep.
It's
almost like he had it all planned out.
Yeah, he did. I think he did. And, I don't know.
I want you to know that in the comments for Law and Crime, that I wrote down that people need to look up Gallucci's son.
Yeah, somebody asked his first name, and I typed it in there.
Oh, you did? Okay. I didn't know that you saw that I put that.
Listen, if he wants to, air dirty laundry, he's got to bring up his own. And let's face it, that kid of his is either going to have to pay for it or take it, because ain't nobody laying down with him willingly. He looks like the boar's head pig. All right, I said it. So what? He's not
She
an
went
attractive
there.
kid.
I agree.
So, if Gallucci wants to go there, we can go there.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was very proud of Dr. Baden, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
and he was an idiot.
Yeah.
It was natural causes. 6 years old, natural causes.
Right.
I believe he referred to him as world-renowned Dr. Baden or something.
Yeah.
Did he not?
World-renowned.
He used Dr. Baden because he thought the name alone was going to sway the jury.
Mm-hmm.
Well, exactly, because of who he is, world renowned, but he's too old now. Something isn't working for him anymore. I'm not trying to be mean.
No,
but
I used to watch a show that Dr. Baden had. I think it was called Autopsy. I thought he was wonderful, but he's reached his expiration date. He doesn't need to be making public appearances. He doesn't need to be a expert witness in any trials. I think he's beyond that now. It's time to hang up his hat. He had a good run. He was a wonderful, what do you call him?
He was a great forensics or autopsy guy, whatever.
Yeah, I can't even think right now. He was. I'm telling you, I was a big fan of his show. I thought he was great, but he's done. And I just know how Gallucci works, and he saw the bells and whistles and thought that was going to make everybody think, oh, well, Dr. Baden, he's got to be right. He worked in the OJ trial and this trial. Well, that was a lot of years ago.
Oh.
Medical examiner. Yeah, that's what he is, right?
I have to wonder how he sleeps at night. Just your comparison to, he did the OJ trial. How'd that go for y'all?
Yeah, and there were other ones that I don't remember, but I just remember him from the autopsy show that he had on, I think it was HBO or something.
Medical examiner, yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, but it's just
he needs to retire, Matt, Olivia. But he is world renowned. I mean, he was great at his position before he wasn't great at his position.
Yeah. He just needs to take a step back now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Listen, I'm not going to lie. When I saw him sitting 3 feet away from me outside of that courtroom, I was impressed because he's somebody I watched on TV. I thought about going up and shaking his hand and, asking for an autograph, but I thought it would be inappropriate. So I didn't, Yeah. But thankfully, he wasn't the greatest witness for the defense. He really didn't do a lot for them. And, they should have probably thought about his age.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I think exactly what you think. I think exactly that that
He was
they
gonna
really
name
thought
drop.
that they were gonna exactly. I think that they didn't even like they had so much respect for the guy that they didn't even like try to
Mhm.
get him through. Like they figured, well, we don't have to get him on, train him or go over it with him. You know what I'm saying? He's got this down pat, and in the meantime, the guy just didn't have it down pat.
No, he didn't. He just, and that's okay.
Mhm.
I still like the guy. He was hired to do something and he didn't perform, and that's okay. But oh, Galucci's son. I Maybe he threw out that BS for Corey on purpose. I don't know what that means, but
Mhm.
Maybe he was working for Corey without them knowing it or something. Maybe that's the way I read that. I don't know.
oh, maybe I don't know.
Me.
Um, no, Teresa, I don't believe that it was determined that he wasn't given all of the information because if you listened last night, Galucci said how Baden reviewed all of everything, so I don't think that's accurate information. He was given everything that any other expert witness was given. He just didn't know what to do with it at this
And let
time.
me tell you something, if he wasn't, he should know enough to ask for it.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Um, I just I want to mention that I don't know how many of you know this, but for the last 4+ years, there was a camera crew, a guy, his name is Ryan, and he is making a documentary about Corey's story. And I'm not knocking Law and Orders. I thought it was very well done, but I feel like Ryan captured so much more because he was with us from
Mm.
very early on.
Well, yeah, I that's interesting,
Yeah.
but a documentary and a news story are going to be presented differently. But I thought
Mhm.
that they really did do a great job on
No,
Law
they
and
did.
Crime. I
I do
really
too.
do think that they did a really good job. I
Yeah.
I'm interested in seeing the documentary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, me too.
When Law and Crime, I keep wanting to say Law and Order because I'm so, but when they got back to me after they had come out to interview us here, and a couple of weeks passed, and I was contacted to say that their producer wanted to do a 2-hour segment as opposed to their normal like 15-minute or whatever, and he referred to it as a documentary, and I thought, oh, okay, well, I didn't,
Right.
I don't know but that's what they refer to it as. Yesterday they called it a documentary, which I think it was great. I
Mhm.
just feel like if theirs was that good, imagine what Ryan's is going to be like having all the footage that he has. It's going
Right.
to be,
Well,
you
yeah.
know,
I think
Yeah.
always I think when I think when people when it's a passion project as opposed to a news story, or you know what I'm saying,
Mhm.
and it sounds like the guy that's been, staying with you and going through everything with you for him, he's involved, right? So
yeah,
I
I mean,
guarantee you it's a passion project, and it probably will show in the work
yeah,
because it would be so personal.
Ryan has been to memorials, all of them. He's been to my granddaughter's baby shower. He's been to my house just on a random day to see what we're doing,
Right.
he's been through a lot with us, and, I'm really looking forward. He's still editing,
Yeah.
it's a lot of, it's 4 years, 4+ years of footage. So
Yeah.
he's not going to get it done as quickly as,
Yeah.
others may get things done. And he doesn't have the production crew that everybody else has either.
Right.
so I can't wait till it's done. I'm very anxious to see that. And I trust him, because I know that he's going to tell it right.
Mhm.
Rebecca, they're asking if you could remove the comment so that they could see your face.
Where, who wants to, what comment?
The comment that's over the one that's on the screen.
Oh, I have no idea.
So just, yeah, but listen, just click on a comment. Just click on one comment, random comment on the side, and
Mhm.
then click on one, Rebecca.
I did.
No, click on it so that you bring it up to the screen.
Oh, okay.
Now click on it again, the same one.
Mhm.
Click on it again.
Okay.
The same comment that you just clicked on, looking
I,
forward to the documentary.
okay. So
On
am
the
I,
side, click on it.
okay.
There you go. Now your comments, that's how you get rid of comments. You got to click on the same comment twice
Oh,
to get rid of the
I
comment.
didn't know it was
They
covering my
couldn't,
face.
it's covering your face on the, if they're watching it on the phone, apparently.
Oh, okay. All right. Gotcha. Um, oh, somebody's saying they had to present both sides, but they can't unsee that
Mhm.
treadmill video. Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
I don't like looking at it at
Mhm.
all.
Mhm.
Last night was it was hard. It was not easy, but I knew it would be.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I was texting Toddy and I was like, I am just sick knowing, how Rebecca must feel right now watching this. Just mm.
Yeah, it was really
Huh.
hard.
Mhm.
And it's funny because I was a little concerned about Galucci, but like I said, it was nothing he hadn't said before.
Right.
And I
Well,
mean,
he
what's
definitely let the world see who he was. That's for sure.
yeah, yeah, he did.
Mhm.
But I just feel like I'm not going to stay on here much longer because there's not a lot really to say. Just I wanted to get people's opinion, what they thought, about law and crime, and I think we can all agree they did it. They did a good
Mhm.
episode. They did
Mhm.
Corey justice. I'd
He
say
did.
we're happy. Maddie's saying she had nightmares after seeing the treadmill video.
Right.
You know,
Mhm.
yeah, I still have the occasional, not so much about the video all the time. They're different every time, but I still have issues. And Cassandra Bree's doing good. She's doing okay. Um, I know somebody said they wanted to know how many times she's been back to rehab, and she's not been to rehab yet. So I don't anticipate her going. I don't think
Mhm.
she has any issue that would land her in rehab. Um, so yeah, Bree's doing as good as can be expected under the circumstances. You don't get over this. I think I said that a million times. You're never getting over something like this, and you know, um, it just sucks that people still have negative things to say after all the information that's been put out. I think I've been putting information out for quite some time,
Mhm.
and people still have these misconceptions about what happened. And, I don't know. I don't think I can change that, but I'm going to try like hell. And that's the reason for having this channel and for writing the book. And, you know, um, on Tuesday, I should be hearing from the Attorney General's office to see if Chris actually filed his appeal or if he needed another extension, or I should say his attorney filed it. Um, that is kind of holding up this book thing, although they did tell me that at this point I could, you know, publish, but I was kind of waiting it out a little bit longer to see how if the ending I have is the right ending. Let's put it that
Right.
way, you know. So,
I hope the ending you have is the right ending.
right. But
Yeah.
I don't even remember what comment. What is it, Tippy? What was the comment? I don't remember um,
Mm.
what they said. I have no idea. There were so many, I couldn't keep up.
I
But
just feel bad for anybody who's so miserable that they would sit there and badmouth a precious 6-year-old who's no longer with us.
I don't think that that's what it is. I don't think that. I really do think that the people doing that, it's a distraction, and it's trying to make the Michelot family look bad because, well, just look at the Gregor family. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't think that they're just um I just can't imagine some random stranger putting that in there. So I think that
yeah,
there's an agenda behind it.
I think they want a reaction.
See, I
Obviously,
get the feeling that the fruitcake comment would have bothered the Gregor family much more than it would bother Rebecca and Bree. So I can't see their family putting that out there, you know?
yeah.
Well, because it would bother them, it would put them. It would be the one that they would say it. They would be the one saying it because it's the most disgusting thing that they could think of.
Oh, I see where you're going with that, Toddy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know how to get my comments on these comments on the screen, but somebody just sent me the
You
one.
just click on it. You just click on it, Rebecca.
It's
That's how
on
you
my
get it.
phone. Like she
Oh,
texted to me.
Okay.
So, but
oh,
anyway, um, I'll share it. It says, that we talked about how Bree said during the interview last night that she visited Corey's great grave multiple times a day. So this person writes, "Oh, you visited your son's grave multiple times per day. Is that because you feel guilty about not being with him when he was alive? Because you were
Mm.
so focused on your own addiction rather than your parenthood before he died? Funny how a guilty conscience works. You were there for Corey much more after he died, I guess. 3 times a day is at his graveside, 0 times a day during his life." Well, you know what cracks me up? Bree was always with Corey. Okay. There might have been a few days she wasn't. And that was my doing because maybe her behavior was questionable and we didn't have her around Corey if it was questionable. I'm starting to wonder if this Lord,
Mhm.
whatever they're calling themselves, Lord something, I feel like I might know who this is.
yeah, because it's definitely somebody that knows the inside. Again, it's not a random stranger.
No, and I was sharing with Jamie before we went live about
Mhm.
a little situation, and if it's who I think it is,
Mhm.
shame on you, and go get in bed with your brother in your underpants and watch WWE, would you?
Oh, that's just nasty.
Yeah.
Nasty, buddy.
So
Mm. Yep.
anyhow, you know, for people to say stuff like that, they don't know that it's somebody who,
Mhm.
either they don't like me for one reason or another,
Yeah.
or it's somebody from the other side. And,
Yeah.
I mean,
I definitely don't hang out in my underwear with my buddies. That's just not something we
no,
do at
I
a big
mean,
big age like this.
yeah,
Mm-mm.
me and my friends, like, me and my sister never hung out in the bed with her husband or mine watching TV or anything. But, I think that's who this is. And if it's not, well, my bad. But um, anyway, it's, I'm just tired of the bullshit
Mm.
comments, and the bad mouthing. And listen, you people are not blind. You see Bree's Facebook. She documented her entire life with Corey from birth to death. And you're going to tell me that in that she wasn't present with him? She wasn't there? It's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't like the comments. I don't like it, but I can't change everybody. I can only tell the truth. And,
Mhm.
we're not perfect people. Nobody is. But I can tell you this: we never abused Corey. If you remember, I think it was Dennis Mitchell last night even said that there were never any allegations against Brianna for abuse. They were against me. So, I mean, I hate when people say the shit they say about Brie. It bothers me because I'm her mom, but it bothers me also because, I mean, all right, so if Brie was the most shitty mother on the planet, did Corey deserve to be killed?
No,
Of course not.
no,
Was Brie accused of doing it?
No.
no.
I don't know. Bree's sitting home in East Brunswick right now, not in a Trenton State Prison.
Hmm.
I don't know.
And when I saw those videos play with Corey and Bree, that I just saw pure happiness and love
Right.
and
Right.
comfort. It's that's
Yeah.
somebody who took care of their kid and was there with them all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just these people with these stupid comments. I don't know. I think there's a few people that particular comment could be, because only based on what I saw tonight on Facebook makes me think it's this particular person.
Right.
But, you know,
Well, I know all the people on this panel up here right now think Bree is incredibly strong,
she is. I mean,
and you as
And a
well,
very
Rebecca.
good mom, and a really good mom.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
telling you, the people that are writing that aren't random strangers. They're people with
no,
an agenda.
yeah,
And they know, because now they're sitting here and they're enjoying the fact that it got you, and that's really too bad.
yeah.
yeah.
And
But
I understand. I know. Dark Princess,
Hmm.
I was just going to say that, but the problem is you can't. When it's about your kid or your dead grandson, how do you ignore it? You don't. You
right,
want to fight tooth and nail.
Yeah,
of course, and I try not to acknowledge the negative stuff, because you're right, it gives them the satisfaction of knowing they got to you. But how do you not, like, when somebody's calling your dead grandson a fruitcake,
right.
you
Yeah,
know?
I mean, come on. I wouldn't even give any. It's easy for me to say I wouldn't give anything to that, but I think about the moron saying that about a 6-year-old child.
right.
And somebody looking at the treadmill video and actually thinking that that's okay. His own lawyer said, I didn't like the video.
Yeah.
I didn't want to see.
Um,
I didn't. You're gonna hate him when you see the video.
mhm,
I mean, his own lawyer said that.
mhm.
There wasn't anybody that said anything positive about that video.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I mean, but David Greger got on the stand and tried to make it out like that was an isolated incident. It only happened one. That treadmill video was the only time.
Mm,
Well, if it was the only time, sure was a doozy, wasn't it?
right. Where'd all those bruises come from in varying degrees? Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I also want to talk about real quick Dr. Andrew, the prosecutor's expert witness. How amazing was he?
Mm-hmm.
He made me feel like I had spent 4 years of medical school. The way he
Yeah.
explained things to me, I got it. Not to me
Uh-huh.
personally, but in general,
Mm-hmm.
you could understand it,
Yep.
and I thought he was amazing. And,
Mm.
I think Galucci felt like Baden kind of, he outperformed Andrew, Dr. Andrews, but I, I don't think he did. I don't see it that way. I think his name maybe,
Oh, I don't think he in the no, the other doctor I think
Yeah,
won
Oh
in
no,
that.
but I'm saying I think Gallucci felt like, he had star power because he had Dr. Bodden,
Yeah, I
really.
definitely think that
yeah,
that's and they paid a lot of money for him, but he did not deliver. And again, I don't think that they rehearsed him because
right.
they trusted the fact that he had all this experience. In the
Mhm.
meantime, the guy's, no offense, but he's not as quick as he used to be. He's an old man.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Mindy, or not Mindy, Maddie is saying it wasn't only one time because DCPMP had told Chris to stop letting Corey use the treadmill.
Yeah.
And yeah, because the first treadmill incident happened at the Gregor household. Um,
Oh, at their house, they had a treadmill
Mhm.
originally.
in their basement, yeah, they had a
Okay.
home gym.
So of course they knew what was going on. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
you know. Um, anyway, I don't know if anybody has um,
Mm.
uh, questions. The other grandmother, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, Corey didn't have another grandmother. I was his only grandmother. So
Mhm.
if you're referring to Chris Gregor's mother, what's wrong with her? I think she's an abused woman, if you ask me.
Mhm.
That's my
Who raised
opinion.
an abuser? Yeah.
Um, she she had to follow the script, and if that meant lying about what was happening, then that's what she did. I mean, she was coached for her testimony, and
Mhm.
that's why she didn't get to testify at trial, because the prosecutor's office got Chris's jail calls and heard him coaching his mother about what to say on the stand. So what's that tell you? What's wrong
Mhm.
with Carolyn Gregor? You tell me what's wrong with her, that someone that would do that.
Mhm.
Not right, I can tell you that. And somebody said that I seemed off. Yeah, you think? I'm way off, and I'll be the first to
Yeah.
tell you that. I'm so off I'll never be on again. I don't deny that. How would
If
anybody
anybody
else?
in the world deserves to be off, it's you.
I mean, people don't understand this, but let me just give you a quick rundown of what happened to me in this short amount of time. In February, I was injured at my job, okay, which made me physically disabled. My father died within that week, okay, of me having the injury and becoming physically disabled. And then we're going through this nonsense with this custody battle and bullshit with the abuse with Chris. And then Corey is murdered. And then we're fighting back and forth in court and going through this. And I have a back surgery in between that failed. Okay. So I'm still
Mhm.
disabled. And then Gino dies. And I'm still physically disabled. Now I'm mentally not right, because of losing my job and dealing with that. And then all of this other stuff happening to me. And somebody has the nerve to say, I seem off. Yeah, I'm way off. And I'm never going to be right again. And I admit that. And I'm not embarrassed by that.
Good.
I'm not okay. And so for somebody to be that observant, well, thank you. I'm glad you could see that, because you're right. I'm off,
Mhm.
and my nose is red because I'm an alcoholic. Okay.
Of course.
Yeah. You got me.
See, I
Yeah.
just see that you take the pain and you're transforming it and doing something about it to help other children. That's amazing what you and Bray are doing
Yeah.
with
And,
that.
and that's real quick. Another thing I want to talk about, you know, we want to, our hope is that this never happens again. But as you all know, it's still happening every day, all day, all over the world. Kids are being abused and taken out by a parent. And it's not always the dads, okay? Moms do it too.
Mhm.
And so, what I'm hoping, we are trying to get a law passed, and we're hoping it's called Corey's Law. The Ocean County Prosecutor's Office started this process with our New Jersey state senators here. It's the law is S like Sam 4093. And my hope is any of you people in New Jersey, if you want to reach out to your local senators and ask them to support S4093, you could help save another kid. Some other kid won't have to go through what Corey went through. Another family won't have to go through what we're currently going through. And you can also call your local assemblymen and ask them to support A5300. These are all, I don't know the proper terminology and I don't claim to know, but if you contact them, they'll know what you're talking about. And you can look up these numbers yourselves. And, I would appreciate it. Bree would appreciate it. And other families going through this would appreciate it if everybody would support this law and help it. It's not a law yet, but help it become a law. Save a life, save another kid, another family. That's what we're here for. That's why I'm on here doing what I do. I don't want Corey's story forgotten, because I don't want him forgotten, but I also want to help other people going through this. And, if we get these things passed and made into laws, then things will be a lot more difficult, for, to be overlooked. And, I know I've said in the past that Corey didn't get justice, and I want to clarify what I mean. I'm not throwing any shade at the prosecutor's office or anybody, the detectives on the case. That's not what I mean when I say Corey didn't get justice. Corey didn't get justice because Chris Greger is still alive and able to call his parents and his family, and that's not justice to me. So I'll just say that. It's not because I don't feel the prosecutors didn't do their job. They did a wonderful job. And, they got all we could get. It's not justice to me. And I still feel that the Judge Ryan, could have been a little more harsh. Maybe that's just not his way. I don't know him. I don't know if this is, he's just not that kind of person, I guess. I think he did, he let Chris know that he saw his behavior when they were walking out of the gym and that it wasn't normal behavior. That's not how a father would treat a child, but I feel like he could have been a little more harsh. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think had the information about the prior case, the DC and PMP case, it would have been different. The sentencing would have been different.
I'll never understand why some of those things couldn't be brought into, this trial, but Brianna's whole life could be brought into trial. She wasn't on trial. Chris was, but it just doesn't make sense. And, I'll never understand it. And I just want to say, anybody who thinks they know Brianna's life, with Corey and you're making these negative comments, that just shows me that you really don't know. You're talking out your ass, You don't know. You think you might know something and you have some, you feel some certain way about me. So you want to say things like, you won't comment on me or my daughter, out of respect for Corey. And the funny thing is, the person that made that comment was in Corey's presence twice. So yeah, thanks, pal. But, I just hate the comments. I hate it. They're not going to go away. I can't make them go away. All I can do is try to do, the right thing in Corey's honor and save another child and, make things happen and do what we can, to help other people. And that's what we're doing. And, a lot of people might think, well, where's Brianna? Well, Brianna's raising her daughter and working full time. And I have nothing better to do than take charge of this. And that's what we agreed that I would do. Bree is focusing on being a mom and working, and she's involved in what's going on. She's just not on here involved, And some people take that as she doesn't care, or she's not, and that's not true.
No, she wouldn't have been on YouTube with Corey, so she's not on here now.
So, I just wanted to get that out there. But like I said, if anybody can reach out to anybody in New Jersey, I don't even know if it would hurt for just anybody from anywhere to reach out to New Jersey state senators and assemblymen and
I will
ask
be.
that they back this. I guess it couldn't hurt, right?
Right.
Yeah, I don't think it could hurt at all.
Yeah, and don't be
If you
concerned
put
about
that,
reaching
I
out to
would.
these people. That's their job, is to listen to their constituents.
What
Right.
I would do is I would put the information in the comments in your description so that it's easy. Otherwise, people aren't going to do it. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
They're not
yeah.
gonna
I
do it.
think I'll go back and put that in, and hopefully Marissa's asking what she should say. Just ask. I don't know who your local senator is where you're from in New Jersey, but just ask them if they would support S like Sam 4093. But I will put it in my description, But if you would do that, I would appreciate it. It's nothing changes if we don't push for change. If we just sit down and stay quiet, nothing changes. And we all know that we need changes, because, the justice system, the family court system, agencies in place to protect are not doing what they're supposed to do. And we have to fix that, or this is going to keep happening. And, anyway, I think I'm going to cut this off now. I think I've said a lot. I'm always open to people contacting me. I can't guarantee I'm going to answer your questions because some things just, or I can't comment on a lot of things right now, but, I try. And Maddie, I will send it to you, and hopefully we could talk a little bit more tomorrow about what I asked you earlier. Let me know when you're free and I'll message you or whatever. But I thank everybody for, coming today and also watching yesterday. And, I'll let everybody know about the appeal as soon as I get something on. Hopefully Tuesday, the Attorney General reaches out to me to let me know the status. I'll let everybody know as soon as I know. Right. And of course, anything that comes up, I'm always out here, to let everybody know, because you've all been with us for a lot of you from day one. So, I want to let you know everything that's going on. But all right. Well, thank you, everybody. And I'll see everybody tomorrow morning on, my Monday morning ritual with Toddy.
Our little Monday morning therapy session.
Yep.
Bring the coffee. Do. Bring the coffee, Michelo.
Oh, no. I don't drink coffee, Toddy. Come on.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for letting me come on tonight, Rebecca. Thank you.
Have a good night, everyone.
For watching last night.
Thank you for coming on and helping me out, you guys. Absolutely. I appreciate you both so much.
Oh, no
You're my
problem.
inspiration to do this stuff. I just look at you guys and I just want to do better on here. And I just want to.
That's funny. I look at you and Bree and I say, wow, I've got to be a better woman. I've got to step up here.
Oh, goodness. Well, I would say you're making me blush, but I'm always red, as it was pointed out. So, all right, guys. Thank you for everything. Right. And everyone have a good night.
Okay. Bye-bye. Bye. Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me, Rebecca.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
All right. Not a problem.
Bye, everyone.
Time. Good night. Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.